Here with Quinn Taylor as he joins the Jamestown Jammers for 2017. Quinn, good to have you here.
Hi, how you doing?
Okay. You're attending Felician, and
Yes.
let's talk about what you're doing there as far as your pitching duties there.
Well, from the beginning of Felician for me, when I got there as a freshman, there was a ton of guys who were juniors and seniors who recently they had just won the CAC tournament in 2014. So those guys were already progressing to be in their spots. So for me, I was just coming there trying to contribute, and by my blessings and by working hard, I ended up getting seventh, eighth inning spot, and I worked really, really hard to get to a lot more innings. And in the beginning, I did really, really well. I did well against Southern New Hampshire and Franklin Pierce, and that steadily put me into more positions that were um, high in the game, and that worked out and made me look better in certain situations that were more like game tying and that decided games. So I
Yeah,
was happy about that.
yeah. You started here as starting anything that may be in the offing for you there at Felician.
Yes, yeah. From this year, I actually had 22 innings, and that increased from about 5 to 6 more innings this year, and that helped me a lot. And I was in the eighth inning role again this year, which I came out in a lot of tough situations, and I had a lot of trust coming from Coach Chris Langen. And this year, I did enough to acquire a spot as a starter, and he wants me to start transitioning here from for Jamestown.
Okay. One of the things that's kind of tough when you make that transition from just bullpen to starter,
Yeah,
and there seems to be, even so far this, and we're early in our season, but there's a wall that you can hit,
for
and
sure.
it seems to come in around the fifth inning or
Right.
so. How do you combat against that wall, hitting that wall, and then to get eventually push that down into the later innings?
Personally, I think it's the work before all your preparation going into your start, and that's the self control, and getting to a place where for myself I've been 89 to 91 at times, and now I can't just go out there and rear back for one inning. I have to be able to steadily continue for 4 to 5
Pace
to
yourself.
6 innings. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Pace myself. So in the beginning of the last game I threw, I started out probably around 84, 86, just to get a feel, and just to get outs, and that's honestly what you want to do as a starting pitcher. It's you got 9 innings of baseball, so if we can get up to about 5 or 6 innings of just getting outs, doesn't you don't need strikeouts, you don't need to rear back and try and get everyone out by striking out, or you got a good defense behind you, especially here at Jamestown. So for me, I just try and get a lot of ground balls and do my job.
One of the things that is, I think, crucial that sometimes gets missed, especially by major league organizations, they get obsessed with speed.
Hmm.
And
Right.
I've seen some of the most effective pitchers that their top speed is like 88, 89,
Hmm.
but their slow stuff is a good 10 to 12 miles an hour below that. And
Right.
that's really what you're looking for is that difference between when you are throwing fast,
Hmm.
and it doesn't really matter what that is, but getting about 10 miles an hour shaved off that for your off speed
Right,
stuff.
for sure. Yeah, and then making sure that you're changing levels in the zone to curveballs to sliders and changeups in certain counts, and if you can manipulate counts the right way you want to, then you'll be definitely successful in this game, and it's helped me a lot so far.
Great, great. What do you think so far? You've been around the guys now. You guys have basically a little over a week together,
Right.
and it seemed we took our first road trip. Everyone seemed to be gelled together. You guys are a team.
Right. Yeah. No, I actually really, really like this team, and from Coach Barone, I'm the only Felician guy, and he knows about Felician. He went there before, and he understands that if you're gonna come here, it's gonna be a gritty atmosphere, just kind of like how it is at Felician. So I met some of the guys, and a lot of these guys from whether it's Texas to California. I just gotta gauge of how they work, and how Texas baseball is played, and how they approach the game in California from a couple of my roommates, and I just like picking people's brains and figuring out, how's the best way to make yourself better. And everyone wants to push each other, and every day it's a grind in the summer. So
Sure.
especially when you're not around the people you're used to. So it's kind of hard to acquire a horse in the race. So when you do, and when you're around a bunch of guys that you enjoy playing with, it just makes it that much easier.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about your youth baseball days. Take us back to when you got started and like up through high school, and maybe something about were you always a pitcher or is it something that came later or whatever?
It came a little bit later. I always pitched, but I wasn't always as great at pitching, and I was used to walk a ton of guys, but I always used to throw hard. So, but I always played from when I was 8 years old, and from there I played on a ton of travel teams, and I just always loved being around the game, and I was catching third base, first base, and then finally pitching came around, and I always did it in between all those other positions, but my favorite thing was to hit at the time. It's going into high school, but pitching also started to progress as well. So being a two-way guy, you kind of had to save your arm. There was a point where I was catching one game, throwing the next game, and it wouldn't be easy on my arm. So my coaches, got together and we talked, and he said, "You're going to get to college as a pitcher when I got to around my junior or senior year of high school." So I started taking it super seriously, got my body in better shape, and I started to take pitching as a whole and
Hmm.
understanding the mindset you need every single day to go out there and throw. And I started taking it more seriously, and then now here we are today.
Well, I'll tell you, it's always crucial to get set up by having a good high school coach
Right,
to get you ready for your college experience, and then, of course, gaining some experience here in the summer.
for sure.
Any hobbies that you have? Fishing, hunting, Xbox, whatever.
Love playing basketball.
Okay.
Honestly, if I was as good at baseball as I am at basketball, I think that things would have been a lot different. But I love the game of basketball. I like football. I just love watching sports and hanging out with friends and going on vacations, going to different places and stuff like that. So
Well, you're going to get to see New York State for sure as we
yes,
progress
no,
here through
absolutely,
through the course of the season. All right, Quinn Taylor, thanks for the time.
absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.